the Education Over Debt channel. I am Sheena Hogue and I'm so glad you joined. This is the place where I give practical financial tips that anyone can understand and you can begin to implement now. Today's topic is setting financial goals. I think more than anything, 2020 has taught us the importance of being intentional. Be intentional about the life you want to have and do the things that you want to do. Now is not the time for procrastination. I realized a few years back that at the beginning of the year, I would set all these goals and things I wanted to do, like cultural activities I wanted to experience, places I wanted to travel, health goals like exercising more or drinking more water, and yes, even some financial goals. But by the end of the year, I would not have accomplished hardly any of them. And when I would look back, I'll say, where did the time go? Why didn't I accomplish these goals? It was because I didn't have anybody holding me accountable and I didn't see the goals anywhere. And so from that point forward, I started writing down everything that I wanted to do for a year on a sheet of paper, and I would post it on the walls. And it was things as simple as drinking more water, trying to drink 32 ounces of water a day, or experiencing cultural different activities in the community. Like I lived in Maryland, I lived in Chicago, and Chicago has a whole lot of things to do, especially in the summertime. So just trying to make sure I at least hit up a few of those in the summertime. Places I want to travel. Last year I traveled to about 5 different countries, and just different goals that I would set for myself. And this really has helped me to live a more purposeful life and be more intentional about doing the things that I want to do, because life is just too short. And you look up and 10 years have gone by, 15 years have gone by, and it's like, well, what have I done? And so today I really want to talk about how you can be intentional with your financial life by setting proper financial goals. So the first thing is to create a spending plan, I should say. A spending plan, some people refer to this as your budget, but basically it just outlines where you plan to spend your money. They have a lot of different apps out there that you can use today for this topic. A lot of people use mint.com. Mint allows you to categorize and see graphs and things like that, so that you can see how to allocate and use your money, or where you're spending your money. It keeps track of it. Some people still do the old school way, using a checkbook or Excel spreadsheet. I personally prefer the Excel spreadsheet because of my background in accounting and finance. I find Excel to be pretty user friendly, and I like to go in and actually plan where I want to spend my money before I actually spend it. Gotten commission for a number of years in my career, and with being successful getting commission, you have to know where your money is going. You have to be able to manage your money. So anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur, the first step to be an entrepreneur is to learn how to manage your money. Point blank, period. You can't be an entrepreneur and be successful if you don't know where your money is going. Okay, so I think creating spending plans before you spend money is very helpful to make sure you're intentional about where you want your money to go, so that you can achieve the goals and utilize your monies the way that you want to use them. Today with bill pay, it allows a lot of people to easily pay their bills, but what they don't account for is the variable expenses such as groceries or eating out. Now we have delivery charges with DoorDash or Uber Eats or Instacart. For you to have those items delivered to you, maybe a little fee, or maybe you have to set up an annual plan where you with them for a year and you pay a certain fee per month or something. But those are all additional fees that we have that we didn't really think about in the past, where we would just get out and go to those places to get our food or get our groceries. So those are some things you want to really look at to see, like, where's your money going, and is it helping you get to where you want to get to financially? So the first thing is to create a spending plan and make the spending plan intentional for the lifestyle that you want to live moving forward and the legacy that you want to leave. The next thing I would say is to get a handle around your debt. As an African-American female, a lot of us have several degrees, and with multiple degrees usually come a lot of debt. So get a handle around your debt. I know some people preach that you should pay off all your debt before you begin to save and invest. I don't think that that's feasible. I think the opportunity cost is too great for a lot of people who may have hundreds of thousands of student loan debt. If you wait till all your student loan debt is paid off before you begin to save and invest, I believe that on the other end, you're just going to come out in a worse situation. Because if it takes you 20 to 30 years to pay off student loans, and you want to wait until you pay off all your student loans before you invest for retirement or save any money, then by the time you turn 50, it's going to be time to retire and you're going to have nothing. Why? Because you ain't do it over the years. And so I think that you can do a both and strategy. Yes, pay off your debts. They have a lot of ways to pay off your debt. Some strategies may include the snowball method, where you pay out the smallest amount and then you increase it and pay off the next amount, and on and so forth. Some people use the avalanche method, where they pay off the highest interest rate, the debt with the highest interest rate. They pay that off and then they work through it that way. Studies have shown the snowball method and the avalanche method kind of turn out to be around the same amount of time to pay off the debt. So it really just depends on the type of person that you are. I'm a more goal-oriented person, so I like the snowball method because I feel like I've accomplished something when I paid off the smallest balance and then moved to the next balance. That's how I was able to pay off my student loans a lot faster than the 10 years that, most people take 10 years or longer to pay off student loans. I paid off my student loans in a fraction of the time by utilizing the snowball method. Another way to pay off debt faster or quickly is to, again, reduce your expenses. If you spend less money, then you could pay off more faster. I know it may not seem realistic for some people to downsize, or they may not want, people to look at them funny because they're downsizing or talk about them or what have you. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. Don't worry about what people say, because they're not helping you pay the bills to begin with, right? So don't worry about what people say. If you have the ability to downsize, then maybe you can consider downsizing. If not, look for other little ways that you could cut back. Like I said, with the delivery charges, if you're eating out all the time or having people come deliver things to you, are they charging you fees for that? Is it easier for you to just get in your car and go pick it up? And then possibly look into maybe meal prepping for a week or something to help cut that down. So there are always ways that you can look into cutting back to try to reduce monies. And you may not have to do this forever. Maybe just set a time frame, like for the next 6 months or the next 3 months, I'm going to do this and try to save that additional cash. Think of it like that. A lot of people, a few years back, started cutting off the cable bill and just have the internet. So now we have a lot of, internet providers that will give you the mobile app for the cable or something like that. So you can still have access to the cable, but you're not paying the bill because you're just using it through your internet on that app. I cut my cable off years ago. People thought I was crazy, but now it's a common theme. Most people just look at Amazon and Netflix, Hulu, some of those channels, or look at their internet or their cable channels on their apps that they have linked to their televisions or their phones. So that's another way that you could cut back versus paying for a cable bill and internet and a phone bill. Those are ways that you could possibly look into cutting back on a few things. And so last but not least, I would like to talk to you guys about this concept that I didn't really know was a full concept until I looked it up, but it's called financial mapping. So I worked in operations for a few years, and with operations, we have something called process mapping, where you're always developing these processes to map out what your next step is, right? And so me being financial, I was thinking, I could use this in money. So at the beginning of the year, I had a speech to do, to speak to some people. And 2020, new year, new decade, what do I want my decade to look like at the end? The next 10 years, where do I want to be financially? How am I going to get there? Who can help me get there? That's what I was thinking of at the beginning of the year before 2020 happened with this COVID-19. And I shared this with one of my friends. Me to prepare for this speech, I was going to talk about investing $100,000 this year, or setting up a strategy to invest $100,000 in your retirement accounts. And my friend told me that maybe I need to bring it down a little bit because everybody might not be on $100,000 level or feel like that's achievable and obtainable and all this kind of stuff. And so I did. I brought it down to investing $25,000 every 3 years. And I want to share this strategy with you. So for 2020, the maximum 401k contributions is $19,500 if you're under the age of 50. If you're over 50, you have a catch-up contribution for an additional $6,500, which gives you a total of $26,000 that you can invest in your 401k plan. For your individual retirement accounts, you can invest a total of $6,000 into those. And if you're over the age of 50, an additional $1,000 for a total of $7,000. Let's say, for example, you are working for a company, and most companies nowadays give you an employer match of like 5%, 6%. And what the employer match does is, let's say you make $60,000 a year, your employer matches up to 5%. That means they're going to give you $3,000 for you to invest in your retirement account. So a couple things you want to look at with this employer match though is you want to look at the vesting schedule. A lot of people don't ask these questions, but I used to audit pension plans and 401k plans. So you want to look at your vesting schedule. If the employer says they match you 5% or 6%, see when you're actually entitled to that money. So most companies may have a 3 years before you 100% vested or 5 years before you 100% vested. What that means is that if you start working for this company at year 2, whatever they was matching you, you will not get access to if you leave the company because you didn't stay there for the full 3 years or 5 years. So whenever you hear employer match, yeah, that's great that they match you, but ask them, what is the vesting schedule? How long do I have to work here so that I can have access to this money if I leave this company? Again, some companies is 3 years, some companies is day one. I worked for a financial company for years, it was day one. As soon as you start working there, they got the employer match. And one way that worked for me is because in setting financial goals as financial professionals, we tell people a rule of thumb is to save 10% for your savings account and then 15% for your retirement account. What I did was I invested 10% and then I would use my company's 5% match, and I would consider that the 15% me investing for my retirement account. So sometimes you just got to be creative in how you can do some of these things, but think about it. What is your company offering you that can help you achieve your financial goals? And so that's why I want to bring up this concept of this financial mapping. Financial mapping is the ability to plot out over an extended period of time your financial plans. Now, let's say you set a goal for yourself to save $25,000 every 3 years. So as you can see on the graph here, you have $60,000 in income. Your company matches you up to 5%, so that's $3,000. Your goal is to save $25,000 every 3 years. How do you do it? If you get paid twice per month, you can save $220 per pay period. At the end of the year, you'll have a total of $5,280. Your company matches you another $3,000, so that gives you $8,280. If you do that for 3 years, you'll have a total of $24,840 by the end of year 3. And this is just what you're investing. This isn't including compound interest. And let me explain compound interest to you because I don't think I did. The way compound interest work for you is just like you have a credit card bill and you go to the store, let's say you charge $100, you don't pay that $100 at the end of the month, and so next month you notice your bill is a little bit higher because they tacked on the interest. And then if you keep not paying every month, that bill continues to increase and grow. The way that works for you on a credit card side, that's the same way that compound interest works for you in regards to investing. So that's why I personally think that you can't wait till all your debt is paid off to start investing. Like, you could do something now because over time, little by little, it will begin to add up and the compound interest accrues. And so that's why I think the opportunity cost is just too great for you not to invest because you're trying to pay off all your student loan debt or whatever debts you may have. Yes, pay off your debts, but develop a strategy to pay off your debt and invest at the same time. Okay? So that's how compound interest works for you. So if you look at it in goals of financial mapping, try to set up investing long term, that's how you can set up a plan to achieve your financial goals long term. I hope this episode has helped you with setting financial goals. Be intentional and create a spending plan. Know where your money is going. Reduce your debt. And last but not least, create some financial plans to help you map out over extended periods of time ways that you can achieve your financial goals so that you can live a life that's more financially free. Thanks again for watching the Education Over Debt channel. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Thanks.